Hey guys, good evening. So it's Halloween. Happy Halloween. Tonight I'm going to paint some pumpkins and I'm going to ink my last Inktober illustration. And then I'm going to flip through the illustrations that I've created. Hi Catherine, hi Robert, hi Zora. So since one of these pumpkins is going to, so I wanted to paint Calcifer and a Soot Sprite from Spirited Away and from Howl's Moving Castle. So since the Soot Sprite is going to be all black, I wanted to go ahead and paint it so that it would have a chance to dry while I'm inking my Inktober piece. So what I'm going to do is I kind of want to adjust the camera so you guys can see better, but I don't know how that can be feasible without making people sick. So y'all are just going to have to bear with me. Oh, okay. I am more out of this black acrylic ink than I thought. So for the pumpkins, I'm going to use Posca and acrylic inks, but since I have a large area to cover with the Soot Sprite, I'm going to start with black acrylic ink. So this is FW black acrylic ink. And it's getting all over the place. Yep, they are real pumpkins. We got them from a little grocery store earlier today. And I haven't painted pumpkins in a really, really long time. So since I'm using acrylic, it should dry pretty quick, but I may need to do a couple of layers for good coverage. And I went ahead and I cleaned them off, but they may have a bit of a wax coating on them. Oh, I was about to say, do you guys think I can do this without getting it all over me? The answer is no, I cannot. It's okay. It's actually why I have this little paint canister set up here so I can paint my teeny tiny pumpkins and just make a huge mess all over the place. And I was inspired to do this because I saw that the Frugal Crafter had done some painted pumpkins and I was like, those look really cute. It would be really fun to do that. And since I don't get trick-or-treaters around here, and I don't particularly enjoy carving pumpkins and we don't have any kids, there's not really any point for me to carve like a big pumpkin or to do something with a big pumpkin. You know what? If I had enough of it, I would. That would be so much easier than what I'm currently doing. This is a little dumb, y'all, but that's okay. I mean, I would also recommend using, if you have a thicker black acrylic ink or an acrylic black paint, I would recommend doing that instead of black acrylic ink. It was not a good idea. Not my finest moment. Oh, hey Roman, good evening. It does look kind of cool though when it's all black, because you've got like the black and you've also got orange. Also took very little black acrylic ink to do this. Why am I messing around with that? When am I gonna do the collab? Soon, and when I have time. I know you're being so patient and I appreciate that. I actually wasn't really gonna do a stream tonight, but it's been a while. And then I saw the pumpkin idea and I was like, that seems like it'd be fun to do. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry, get myself cleaned up a little bit. I think I'm gonna have to do another layer on the pumpkin, but I think 2 layers will be good. thought they just did pumpkin dipping. No, they did pumpkin dipping. Yes. I'm going to come back to this, but I don't want to waste my ink. Set this up somewhere where it can dry quick. But then again, I got hummus everywhere, and I didn't think. Alright, I'll set that aside and clean up my workspace. And work on my Inktober for tonight. Nancy, good evening. When I have some more time to do it. Since you're asking about it, I can pull it out though. Give me a sec. So this is the collab he's talking about. I've been keeping it safe and sound, so I didn't forget about it. I've been keeping it on my drying rack where it's going to be protected. But you can see it's a pretty big piece, and I'm still trying to think about what I'm going to do for my half of the collab. Hey Terry, good evening. Oh, thank you so much, Nancy. I'm glad you like it, and I'm glad it went to a good home too. Sorry, pulling up my reference. I guess I can turn it on to screen share so you guys can see what I'm using as my reference. I'm referencing the leaves. And then I'm also referencing antique Halloween costumes, specifically this Good Fairy costume over here. So pardon my reach. I've been recording most of my Inktobers, and I'm going to record this one, and it's going to be all kind of funky, but that's okay. So I have my phone, which is my other main recording device, on a gooseneck clamp. And it's kind of sad because as soon as Inktober is kind of over, I kind of want to start doing it all over again. It's like I catch a second wind. For me to draw more Inktober? Yee. And then once I get this gal inked, I'll flip through the sketchbook and show you guys. I'll actually have 32 illustrations for Inktober. The 32nd day, I did 2 today because I wanted to do pecan. And I already inked that one earlier today. So are any of you guys going to participate in Huevember this year? Oh, cool. Yeah, I look forward to seeing what you do, Terry. I appreciate Joseph for kind of keeping me up with what's going on in the chat. You guys can see I don't have it up right now. It's cool that there's so many different art challenges throughout the year, although I can't imagine trying to do all of them. For real. Same here. That's why I'm not doing Huevember, is I just don't have any more steam left for a different challenge. Art Sound Off doesn't require drawing. Art Sound Off is like journaling, talking about your thoughts and feelings regarding art. I wasn't saying it to make fun of the creators. I'm saying it to make fun of me because like I have any problems waxing overly whatever feeling I am. But I'm not doing it in video format. I thought it would be kind of cool to follow the prompts and take a photo of what I feel like represents the prompt and then do a short blurb and share that on my Instagram. Is my head getting all up in the shot? Sorry. You know, I still... Sorry, checking the recording as well. I really should wear my glasses, and I'm really stubborn about not. Did anybody get to do anything fun for Halloween today? Oh, awesome. What did you trick or treat as? Well, obviously he's not. He's okay. I'll let Joseph do the talking because I have trouble inking and talking at the same time. Man, November's kind of my month off, plus I need to finish some of my work for my Making Comics class. I have a lot of their files, but I need to collate them into mini comics and zines, and then I need to arrange our exchange. I've been kind of taking this week off a little bit, or taking a break, I guess, because I was getting really burnt out. Bowie, come collect your hair. Joseph, were they going to do an Inktober thing at your work? Did you, not Inktober, obviously not Inktober at your work. I meant Halloween. Only art supply people would do an Inktober thing at work. Do they have costume, like, do people dress up for Halloween with y'all? Right, like, yeah. Would, you should. Sorry, gonna cross over, there we go. I think you would not dress up if you'd gone in today. I didn't dress up. I went for a job interview, so that's part of the reason why I didn't. Don't like that thumb, but that's okay. I want to watercolor these later on, so even if there's areas that I'm not fond of, I'm leaving them as is. Maybe that should be my November, just color everything I inked in October. So we've been watching this LPer play Isomnium, which is by the same creator who did 999. And it kind of reminds me of D4 in terms of like the story and the way that it's very comedic. And there's this idol girl character in it. Her name is Iris, and she's trying to become basically like a YouTube celebrity. And she does this by doing like Minecraft streams and singing and dancing. And I have her theme song stuck in my head. And I've had her theme song stuck in my head all day. It is extremely anime. It's like peak 90s anime. You could see like Lena Inverse singing it. Did you link it? Okay, I've about had it with that brush pen. That one is pretty dead. Come on, brush pens. You just got to get through one more day. It doesn't do any good to try and be cheap with them either, because then you end up just pulling like really messy lines because you have to go over it again and again and again. Oh yeah, that one's a good one. I do, yeah. I don't know of any tricks. Keep them for a little while once they start dry brushing, because I can kind of use that technique to my advantage. But once they start fat lining, which is where like the tip of it gets like all wet noodly and hard to hard to control, I toss it then, because I just don't know any tricks to get like that little bit of extra life out of them. I spoiled you. You saw me pull out that nib on the pit pen and flip it over. And now you're like, oh. Hey, happy Halloween yourself. So a trick for pulling fairly straight lines like that, and sometimes I can do them better, is you basically move your eye to where you want your endpoint to be and try to like visually connect the dots. So starting point, I move my eye to her shoulder, and then I'm going to start at the same point, and I want to end like right there. So I don't even really watch my brush as I'm pulling it. And sometimes I do a better job than other times. except the thing is, you would assume, exactly, you would assume, and I've been drawing so many pictures this Inktober of Lilliputians interacting in a friendly way with insects that that would really kind of break that illusion. Yeah, I thought about it too. Yeah. But I mean, humans eat cows and goats and chickens and pigs, and people still have pet cows and goats and chickens and pigs. Particularly chickens. The people I know who keep chickens end up very fond of their chickens. I'm gonna kind of resketch the wings a little bit because I'm not super happy with those feathers. That is if I can find it. Oh, getting into the marshmallows. They're pretty good. Well, rather the flavoring on the outside. So I bought some churro flavored Smashmallows, which are like fancy marshmallows, but not super fancy marshmallows. And I'm using the pink lead because if I do watercolor over these, it's going to dissolve into the watercolor better than the blue lead would, and it's going to be less noticeable. Oh, do they? Okay, thanks. I think I grabbed one of my old bad ones. That's not good. I should have ended this shorter or bulked that out more. That's okay. Joseph, what is the first Halloween costume you ever remember wearing?
I think it was something very generic.
Like pumpkin?
Yeah.
Mine too.
I remember Spider-Man when I was like 5.
Oh, for sure.
It was a terrible Spider-Man.
Who cares? Yeah. So what? I mean, at least you got to be Spider-Man. I bet you thought you were so cool. Hey, Tanner. Yeah, I can do that. I turned it down because Joseph pointed out to me. I'm actually going to quickly close out OBS. I mean, what's it called? A little bit there. We were having reverb problems. So I turned it down because I thought that might help with the reverb. Y'all are going to have to let me know if it hits like bad levels. Oh, yes. Ah. Yes.
That's
That's
what I remember was Sorcerer Mickey from Ben 10.
really cute. You guys had some cute baby costumes. I was a pumpkin because I had an aunt who sewed and she made a pumpkin costume for her eldest son and he outgrew it. And her next oldest son, who's my age, refused to wear it. So I guess my mom was just like, yeah, Becca will wear it. But I had my heart set on being a pirate that year. So we had a big old Halloween fight. That's the first costume I really remember. The next year, though, I was Catwoman. Same aunt sewed that costume. That was such a baller costume. I think almost all of my costumes were homemade or assembled from things I already owned. Like, I went as a cat for many years in a row. Okay, favorite Halloween costume.
I remember I had a pretty cool knight costume with like a nice shield and sword and everything like that. I think I like that one a lot.
That sounds like it's straight out of Costume Quest.
No?
No, no shame. I'm just thinking of like the night costume.
Oh, okay. I hadn't connected the dots. I thought you meant some store, but yeah.
No, I meant
It was
the
pretty similar to
the game.
the Costume Quest costume. What about you?
So I did ballet for several years, and we had recital costumes that we owned because we paid a lot of money for them. Ballet is expensive if you've got kids, and that meant we got to keep them. So I had this really cool costume that was like, I forget which ballet it was based on. Well, no, I know it's the one where the main heroine is like a giant living doll, and she's made by her father slash creator to bewitch this guy who lives in the village, but she ends up falling in like real love with him, and they defeat her father together. Well, we did one of the dances from that when I was in ballet one year, so I got to keep the costume. So the year after that, I made it into like a marionette costume. So and this is before I knew anything about cosplay. So I put like rubber bands on my joints to make it look like I was a jointed marionette. And I had like this crossbow, you know what I mean? Like for a puppet with strings. And like what for it to work, I needed someone else to hold that for me, and none of my friends would do it. So everyone was like, "You look stupid. What are you supposed to be?" But I was trying to be a giant puppet, which I know is creepy, but like I'd already had this really cool, elaborate dress, tutu thing that I could wear. So it was like, I might as well. That was probably my favorite, okay? The concept was kind of cool if anyone was willing to play along. That was when I was in 8th grade, though. I was giving out like candy. And then in high school, since I'd already discovered anime by that point, I was like an angel cat girl something. So I had these plush wings that I'd made that like strapped onto my back and a tail. And cat ears. I was so cool. Are you willing to share? Is that what you're hinting at? That you're gonna share baby Joseph? Oh yeah, yeah. The image that it thinks. Yeah. Well, is it a costume? Oh. Oh my. Well, yeah, they assume it's a costume. But if we had some firefighter photos, like my brother is a firefighter, they would also classify that as costume. That's also a costume. My mom accuses me of wearing very costumey clothing as just like my normal clothes. No, I also agree. Like, it doesn't hurt my feelings. When she said that, I was just like, yeah, that's the point. And she's like, well, that's not very professional. And it's like, honey, you don't work in comics. Comics has a loose definition. So people who did dress up this year, what'd y'all dress up as? See, I didn't realize theme costumes were an option because my mom never dressed up with me. So you know we're doing theme costumes. Like, you know it, Joseph. Like, you don't have a choice. Did people recognize you as Wilson? Like, did you paint your face to look like the handprint? That's a cute Pokemon. It's the one that it's trying to look like Pikachu, and a lot of the official art is like Pikachu and Mimikyu like hanging out and being friends. It's super precious. Wish you and Hema lived in the same area, because Hema frequently dresses as Pikachu or Ash for Halloween. That would be so cute. I didn't dress as anything. I didn't want to get ink on it. No, I'm wearing too much clothes for that. Overdressed. For sure. We saw this thing on NHK World Oh, okay. I'll let you. We saw this thing on NHK World where apparently in Japan at Halloween, it's really common to dress up either as like 20 of the same thing, so like 20 Pikachus, or to dress like all themed, so Ash and Pikachu and Bulbasaur, etc. Um, and this is adults. This isn't like kiddos doing it. And the rationale is that, you know, when it's just you doing it by yourself, it's kind of intimidating. It's kind of a risk. People are going to notice you, and you don't necessarily want to be noticed. But if you're doing it as a group, it's just like a friend group thing, and it's less. It stands out, but it's not about you doing the thing. It's about a bunch of you doing the thing, so it's a camaraderie sort of thing. Yeah, when I used to cosplay, it was way more fun with friends. Yeah, I was literally just talking about watercoloring them, maybe. Why? That's why I haven't made, when I make errors, I haven't made any corrections. Because if you're going to add color to something, it's better to wait until after it's finished, like you've added color and stuff to make corrections. Or at least I haven't found like a whiteout that doesn't show up again when you add marker or watercolor. Almost done. It's in the bathroom drying if you want to go take a look. Check on it for me, let me know. Yes, please. I want to do another layer. Well, I don't know. I might just color it as is because I kind of like how you can see a little bit of the orange. Like perfectly black, yeah. It's sitting on the toilet because it's underneath a vent. Dang it. Well, I can do the Calcifer pumpkin first. You can try flipping it. Why? Is the top dry? It's also acrylic, so it might be shiny, even though it's dry. Ah. I don't care if it's not perfect. Yeah, would you? It's going to make a horrible noise, so I apologize, guys, but it's better than waiting 6 hours for it to dry. Okay, favorite Halloween candy? And since Joseph is trying to fix the pumpkin, I'll check the chat in a second. I'm a big Kit Kat person, so like whether it's Halloween or not, I really like Kit Kats. But if we're doing just Halloween candy, so like candy corn, candy pumpkins, those weird caramel apple suckers, probably the caramel apple sucker. Oh no, 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 no! I like Mary Jane's better. Those are like a caramel kind of candy. What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Probably tricks.
Tricks? Wait, do you mean Twix or
Yeah, sorry.
Tricks? The cereal. Just imagine like some neighbor like giving you a spoonful of Trix loose cereal in your.
They just scoop it out of a bowl and throw it at you.
It's got milk in it. Oh my gosh.
That's the trick.
That's the trick. Trick or treat, indeed. Oh my gosh, no. I meant like specifically Halloween candy. So you can name like a regular candy and then like one of those weird candies that only come out at Halloween. So like root beer barrels. Pumpkin Twix.
I don't know.
Pumpkin Twix. What a cop-out answer. Pumpkin Twix. Ah. I should have checked my phone, my funicular divicular. I didn't catch all of it, but that's okay. Y'all caught all of it. You saw me do it live. What? What are you doing? Just upload. Oh, sure. I guess I could. So that's still dry. Ooh. Yeah, okay. All right. So I do consider when it comes to Reese's, their seasonal candies are, I think, different because they change the amounts. So like the Reese's Easter eggs, I like those better than regular Reese's because they are so much peanut butter. All right, so I can let me switch over to Just Desk and close some stuff out. Then I can get caught back up on the chat. Really craving Whoppers. All right, have a happy Halloween, Nancy. Whoppers were like my dad's favorite candy. They're not necessarily my thing, but I respect the acquired taste. All right, let's do Calcifer. Are you laughing at me? Okay. I mean, you can't. You're always welcome to laugh at me. I am somewhat ridiculous. And the Soot Sprite is drying in the other room. Okay, so he is yellow, orange, which I'm just going to leave the body of the pumpkin, and red. And since this is a three-dimensional form, maybe I'll just treat this like his face. So I have like regular Poscas. I've also got some more acrylic inks, which, as we saw, maybe didn't work so well. Can't. It's hidden. It's hidden is all I'm going to say. Where is it? It should be on here. I think it rolled off. Oh, it is. I think he's faded over the years because I remember him being more yellow. Favorite Ghibli movie? Go. We'll see how well Posca works on pumpkin because I've never done it. Maybe I should have sprayed like matte fixative on it. I don't know. We've done Posca on a diskette for Joseph's birthday, which I had a giant medium yellow Posca. It's okay. Originally, I was going to do little baby Becca and Joko pumpkins, and I'm glad I didn't because I would. No, it would be, that's okay. I don't care about not flattering, but it would look bad because of the pumpkin, right? Like, these are not. There's no. But I might want to know why. If someone were to say Panya is my favorite, I would need them to explain it to me. It's Whisper of the Heart for me, but I also really love Only Yesterday. It used to, I still love Howls, and I still love Sophie, but part of my frustration with Howl's Moving Castle, it has to do with me as personally. So it has to do with, like, when I was younger, I really identified with Sophie because I spent a lot of time at home alone doing Etsy crafts and sewing cosplay or drawing. So, like, I was kind of becoming, and I still am kind of becoming older before my time. My frustration, though, with Sophie in the movie, and I saw the movie before I read the book, is that she kind of waits for life to happen to her, and that forces the change for her. And I found that, like, as I got older and living in Nashville and, like, trying to make change happen, I started to find that really frustrating. But not that she's, like, not a great character, just, like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, it's 100% like my damage, not like Howl's Moving Castle isn't a great movie. Also, like, yes, she saves herself and she saves Howl. Oh, that's not even gonna show up. And she saves Howl, but I don't know. I think I like Whisper of the Heart more because she had to find. Ooh, that looks gross. Give me a second. That's dirty. She had to find it within herself to change. So, like, what's his name? The boy who plays the violin. He inspires her, but he doesn't. He likes her for her. Like, she could remain exactly who she was and he'd still like her. But she's inspired and fired up by his passion and his desire to pursue something bigger than himself. And I like that better at this point in my life. Dude, when Marnie was there, it tore me up. Anna is me. Like, 2 minutes in, when she starts talking about inside circles and outside circles, that is me.
You're on the inside circle.
No, inside circles are like the people who are friends with, like, everybody. They have loads of friends. Is the inside circle. And people who have a hard time making friends are on the outside, or think of themselves as on the outside circle. Because I think part of the point of that movie was to show that, like, just because you're very shy and you have a hard time making friends, there's still going to be people who really, really value what you have to offer. I'm going to be lazy and I'm not coloring the pumpkin. The bottom of the pumpkin, sorry. There's no point. So, sorry. What I said about Howls, that isn't like a judgment call on why anyone else likes it. It's not about that at all. I still think it's a really good movie. I still really like the book. I still adore Sophie. I just, like, where I'm at now, I've since learned that you can't wait for magic to happen to you. You have to make magic happen. That's supposed to look like little flames going up. Doesn't. That's okay. So the Posca seems to dry much faster than the acrylic. I just didn't go with Posca for the Soot Sprite because I knew that was going to take forever. But seriously though, there is no wrong answer, Ghibli movie. You could say Holes, Prince of the Sun, or the Three Dog Musketeers. I would still be like, yup. But we loved the sumo one so much. I feel like we were fated to see the sumo one. Wow, that's sad. You know what I mean though? Like, it was so perfect. Plus, he was so mad working on Boro the Caterpillar. Although his face, when those game people came in with their Silent Hill-esque abomination, like, look what we trained a computer to do. And he was just like, no. It was very much his, like, anime was a mistake moment. That must be really rough. Because he's since said that his career was a mistake. I know, well, but like, I think he genuinely believes it. Like, all the documentaries I've seen with him, I think he really feels this way, which is so sad. He's unable to accept that he's created something that's touched hearts the world over, and he's upset about it and angry about it. Like, that's so sad. I think some of us think if we were as loved as he was, that would beyond fill our cups. But, like, I think when you've got a hole in your heart that big, it doesn't, the whole world could love you and it's not going to fill your cup. It's not going to tell you that you're enough. Go check. Because I put it in the bathroom under a vent. Problem solving. It's a good chance for me to check the chat. Leave it under the vent then, because I'm still coloring in Calcifer. So the reason I can't do sad movies is because it'll, like, I'll be crying for the rest of the day. Like, when Marnie was there, we went to Fetch was still next to Fido, and they were doing like coffee ice creams, and I remember getting like a Korean ice cream, which was the best thing. No, Korean shaved ice, which is like the best thing ever. And crying about Marnie, specifically crying about Anna. The real world's plenty sad. I don't need, right now, I don't need to watch sad movies.
What was that Red Turtle?
What? Red Turtle was amazing.
Yeah, but didn't we also?
Oh yeah, no, I cried. We went to Jenny's and I cried about Red Turtle because we went late at night and Jenny's was staying open for the post-movie crowd. Supposedly, Opry Mills is playing a lot of anime movies right now. My Lyft driver this afternoon is at the One Piece movie. Are you gonna take one of these two Ghibli pumpkins to work? Why not? I'll bring you to work and that way you can bring it in. Well, but this way they won't get all scratched up. You can carry them in your hands like you're bearing offerings. If I drawn Sam and Max on them, you'd take them to work. I don't understand why me drawing Calcifer and a Soot Sprite is any reason not to. It has to be, right? It's one media on a pumpkin. It's fun though. I don't have the manual dexterity to carve pumpkins and then look good. But painting these tiny pumpkins is something I can do. Such Halloween. Now, I could care and do another layer because it is a little bit spotty, but you know what? That's whatever. I'm painting a tiny mini pumpkin Calcifer. It's fine. And I'll put him here to dry. Yeah. Would you grab me the Soot Sprite if you think it's dry? You just sat back down. I think I'm going to do this peach color around the face a little bit just to kind of break that up a little. I feel attacked. Looks good though. Like the... Ah! Yikes. It's not marbling, but the black acrylic, the way it... Oh my. It's still tacked. Wow, what does it take to get... Acrylic usually dries really fast. What does it take to get... I shouldn't have painted the bottom either. That's a rookie mistake. I have nowhere to put it. Where it will not... It's gonna stick to the sheet of paper. What I really need is a like a piece of glass or something. Or a candle. Ha ha ha. Because the bottom needs to dry. These pumpkins are taking too long to dry. Even the Posca's like shiny wet in patches. If I hold this like a donut, it'd be a little easier. Oh, this big bullet nib was a mistake. Also, this color was not as different from the yellow as I'd hoped, so it's not like the best choice. I wish Poscas had been popular in the US when people were doing those dunny, like the Do you guys remember Dunning figurines where they're like white vinyl and people would custom paint them? But paint marker, this was like 2009, so it was a while back. Well, that was an experiment. That was not great. Actually, let's do fold them like a donut. At least the eyes look good. You know what would have been cute too is a Dragon Quest slime or a Ragnarok pouring. There's so many things that are like kind of pumpkin shaped. I could have done, if I'd like been smart and started this a week ago, I could have done a whole bunch of them and that would have been super cute. Like a pumpkin a day. Pumpkins. That would be cuter, in my opinion. That would be cuter. Okay, so here's where we are with our Calcifer. Looking pretty cute. I'm gonna do something about that like peach color because I don't like it. It was too peachy and not orangey. Funkin' Pop! Punko Pop! Punko Pop! That's my knockoff line of Punkos. No, pun, like pumpkin, and then all of their, it's scraping off. All of the names would be pumpkin or gourd. Puns. So it'd be Punko Pop. I goofed, y'all. It is what it is. Whatever. It was fun. It's fun to do it, so that's what really matters the most. Well, I thought about like extend. I haven't drawn his like any of his real facial expression yet. Trying to cover up my mistakes. Okay. He just looks cute, you're right. It's like oh, that would be cute. And then Soot Sprite. This one will be easier. What I need to do, is the bottom dry? Oh, it's still tacky. It's so close to being dry though, and I'm impatient. What I'm gonna do with the Soot Sprite, oh, that's one of the brush ones. Not quite ready for that yet. I'm gonna also do some of the Competo, the sugar candies. Ah! Oh, goodness. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, 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 dear. Yeah, the black acrylic was a mistake. It looks cool, but it's stuck to my hand. Oh dear. Can y'all see me okay? Yeah. I'll find a side that is dry. Well, I mean, these were 69 cents a pumpkin. So, like, it was fun. It's been fun. I do not regret this use of my evening. And I learned that acrylic is like maybe not the solution.
How long do you think they'll last if you seal them?
Oh, they're pumpkins. I mean, come on. They're going to last like a week. Like, no, not a week. I'm not being fair. Maybe until January. No. Okay. Give me a sec. That is not working out the way I want it to. That is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it in like it's a ball and then add the spikies. I mean, if they had been described as like dust sprites, I think people would have gotten the idea. Like for an American audience too. We do, but boy, I'm really living up to that, to what I like tell people about why I don't like getting my hands dirty. Of like, if it's on the table or if it's on my hands, it's going to get all over everything. I'm truly living that life tonight. Whoop whoop whoop. Does he ever have teeth? No. He's got a little orange tongue. Do that. I was just thinking about that as I was checking to see whether or not he has teeth.
Especially if they kind of popped when he got really hot.
Like sent off sparks? Yeah.
I mean, people's teeth pop when they're in fires.
Oh, that's a thought. That is a, that's, ugh. I didn't know. I didn't know that. Ugh. That makes me want to vomit a little bit. Ugh. Shh, let's stop talking about it. That is 100% the sort of thing I'm going to be thinking about at like 3 in the morning. Ugh. He's like a baby Calcifer because he's too cute. Also, like, he needs to be, I should have made him a little hat, like a fire hat, so that it could have, like, stuck up, like, Calcifer's flames. It's okay, I'm figuring out all my Halloween stuff now, so when we have a kid, I'll be, like, awesome at Halloween. Poscas are not necessarily the way to do it. Although, you know, like, I've been able to get detail that I wouldn't be able to get if I was, like, just trying to paint on the pumpkins with, like, a paintbrush. Or rather, I'm doing it quicker than I would have been able to do it, too. Right? Fine artist paints pumpkins. I'm sure, this is YouTube. I'm sure that's happened. I'm sure a fine artist did that today. I gotta stop touching the bottom of the pumpkin. It's so wet. It may never, oh, come on. So I just wanted to do another layer of white on his eyes. But the pumpkin gods do not want me to do another layer of white on his eyes. I just slough off at the pumpkin, I think, at this point. Oh, give me a break. So the acrylic, FYI, for those of you who are painting your own pumps at home, the Posca is slightly matte. The acrylic is FW acrylic ink, so it's very shiny, glossy. So the matte Posca doesn't necessarily want to stay on top of the shiny pumpkin. So it keeps trying to like scrape off. Just so you know. For your own pumpkin adventures. It does. And I've painted on glass with Poscas, and I painted on that diskette with Poscas, no problem. I think it's because this black acrylic ink is not necessarily fully dry, but I'm stubborn. I have to clean my desk. Oh wait, no, we do not want this one. We want the bigger one. Oh, you. You cute Soot Sprite. You're lucky you're cute. This went better in my head than... Art challenge. Can you paint on a pumpkin? Becca can't. Actually, like, there's several things I could have done to increase the success of this project. I could have sprayed these down with a matte fixative, giving them an even surface with some grit to it. I could have not used an acrylic ink as my base coat. I could have seen what other artists were using instead of like being like, I can do this. I'm the smart one. Nope. See, that's what happens when you get all like, I don't have to research this. I'm just grateful I spent $2 on pumpkins, and that was the limit of what I spent on this project. Well, yeah, I know, but I'm using up a negligible amount of the materials. And art supplies do die if you don't use them. They do. You're right. They die even if you use them. Pumpkins are not forever friends. I'm looking for a good small black. He looks very much like a slime right now. I think he's cute, but I'm debating whether I'm brave enough to try outlining his eyes or if that's just like flying too close to the sun and I should just accept that he's cute. He looks like a little cute orange pumpkin slime, but he doesn't look like Calcifer, but that's okay. This is a very squat little pumpkin too. Like we were already fighting against. I painted a magma slime. That's what I did. Yep, it turned out perfect. I'm an amazing artist. Ah! Who keeps putting her hands in the black acrylic? So smart. Is it chocolate? Oh my. Oh, I wanted. Hey, do you think Krispy Kreme is still open? Why? It's Halloween. I didn't get any candy. Y'all, I didn't get any Halloween candy. Ooh. I feel like whoever's designing the slimes for Dragon Quest has my number. They know me. I don't know. I actually don't know how much of the character design he does because each game gets bigger than the last. You know what I mean? So it's like just a lot of repetitive designing. I don't know if he does that or if an assistant at this point is designing Choco Slime and Ugu Banana Slime. No, thank you. Not on this channel. Not tonight. Oh, I'm gonna ruin him because I'm impatient. Oh, wait. Oh. Yes, I'm gonna ruin him. Because I don't want to wait for the white to dry. Oh, and my hand shook. I feel like people assume that because you're an artist, everything you do in your life has to be artsy. So like, no, like when I go get my hair cut, right? Like, no, they think I'm gonna like have my house all decked out for Christmas or Halloween or whatever. Like, oh, I should drive by your house. I bet it's gonna look amazing. And as you guys see me struggle to paint these pumpkins, you know why I don't decorate for different holidays. I don't make custom any of that. They have right. Well, and they're good at it. Like that is their but also like I think being able to DIY like cute home stuff is a different skill than I don't have that skill. That requires patience and ingenuity that I don't have. I have respect for people who do. Like I'm not at all saying anything to the contrary. Just that's not a skill set I have. I'm over here struggling to paint Calcifer and Soot Sprite. That's right, magma slime and a Soot Sprite. You're right. Should have painted the stem black too. Oh my gosh. Did excellent point. You are correct, Amundo. Okay, so this is where we're at. I'm having trouble holding him, and I'd like to be able to hold him from the bottom too. There we go. He's okay. He's passable. And then we have my magma slime, which is the cutest little magma slime y'all have ever seen, I bet. So yeah, I'm probably just going to redo his eyes, but I'm going to let him dry fully before I do that. So that's going to be a while. So I'm going to clean this mess up and I'll flip through my Inktober 2019 stuff. Punko Pop. They're cute. Like, they're cute enough. You know what I mean? Like, if someone was hosting a pumpkin decorating contest, I would not. I would enter them as a joke. You know? Like, they're cute, but they're not. I took, like, a very easy route. Did you see where I put the bag for these? After these messages, we'll be right back. I don't know if this pumpkin will ever dry. Wow. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your patience. I usually kind of try to avoid at this point like switching gears in the, like multiple times in the stream, just because like the cleanup does take a while, and I know that's not entertaining to watch. So I'm just using some rubbing alcohol to clean up the Posca, and if there's any stray black acrylic ink. And since this is a non-porous craft surface, it cleans up really easy. Well, you saw that our video settings have just gone to hackaroonie. It says bad video settings, red video health. Comcast. Everybody's streaming horror movies tonight. Oh, I didn't know you didn't see that. I see that. So I apologize if there's any buffering issues or latency issues. Oof. Getting orange and black Posca all over my hands in the spirit of the season. All right, so we have one last thing for this evening. And that is a first look flip through of my Inktober 2019 prompts. So I've been sharing these to Instagram and to Twitter, and I've been posting them over on the YouTube community tab as I've been doing them. And I've also been doing some time-lapse videos of these when I kind of felt the need to. So this year my theme was kind of like a tiny people herbal. So it's a collection of plants. Some of them are edible, some of them are toxic. And when I come... This is Strathmore 500 series mixed media paper. Give me one sec, I'll show you the cover. Wow, I love how when I want to show something. With the Pentel pigment brush pens in medium and extra fine. I really love the extra fine one. These are fun to ink with. And Sakura Pigma FB brush pen. So everything I use this year is waterproof, with the exception of the pink color Eno lead that I have in here. That's going to be water soluble, and that's something that I use when I do my lineless watercolor and my lineless alcohol marker stuff. So I went with the pink this year because I'm hoping to watercolor these maybe in December when I'm in Louisiana, and I wanted something that I didn't have to erase on my underdrawing and could just paint on top of it. And pink is one of the colors that just really kind of meshes well with skin tones, so that's why I went with that. So day 1 is pansies, day 2 is cherry blossoms, day 3 are olives. So I tried to pay a lot of attention to how I depicted the plants. I wanted them to be somewhat realistic or recognizable. I also wanted to depict various insects in kind of a friendly manner. So day 4 was strawberries. I also wanted to show a variety of different ethnicities and ages. Day 5 was daylilies. Day 6 was snowdrops. Day 7 was ferns. And I have little snails crawling all over the place on this one, and doodlebugs on this one. Day 8 was ivy. Day 9 was oak. So I have someone hidden in a pile of different types of oak leaves. Day 10 was Angel's Trumpet, which is actually highly toxic. Day 11 was Morning Glories. Day 12 was Chrysanthemum. Not Chrysanthemum, sorry, Peony, Wild Peony. Day 14, I want to say, was Wild Rose. And I end up drawing bees a lot because bees are kind of the most common pollinator for a lot of plants. And I was trying to draw insects that were involved in the lifespan of the plant in kind of a, I don't want to say productive way necessarily, but in a positive way. I gotta move these little pumpkins because they're still wet. I don't want them getting all over my Inktober stuff before I have a chance to scan it. Thank you. That was something I was really pushing this year, was to try and do more deliberate compositions. My past Inktobers, it was just kind of like, I'm going to fill the page. Whereas this year I was like, I really want to do like framed compositions. Day 15 was Water Lily. Day 16 was Red Clover. So I also tried to pay a lot of attention to how the leaves and the distinctive properties of different types of plants. I wanted them to be recognizable to a botanist, like not as like botanical illustrations, but a botanist looking at my illustration wouldn't be like horrified that I just kind of made stuff up. Right, right. It's fantasy, right? The next one was Squash Blossom, and I really like this one because I like how I used the squash vines to kind of frame the whole composition. Then White Clover. Then Prickly Pear. So all Inktober, I worked really heavily from reference when drawing clothing and insects and flowers. This day was Apple Blossoms. I did have a list, yeah. Then Echinacea, or coneflowers, and these are pretty common in like homeopathic healing. Yeah, I have a list here. And I didn't even get to all the plants. I mean, I had more than 31. And doing more than 31 is good because it gives you flexibility. It lets you pick from your favorites. So you never really feel stuck with a prompt that day. You can always pick something that you like a little bit better. So I don't ever really go with the Jake Parker prompt list. I don't care for it. But I'm also, when I'm doing Inktober, I'm doing it with the intention of putting together a zine that feels to me like a coherent whole. So my concern isn't really like doing the Jake Parker Inktober. It's doing Inktober based on certain things. And I try to do it every year because I spend a lot of my time doing 7-inch Cara, which is a very specific style and it's very watercolor, and people tend to think I can only do one thing. So Inktober is kind of a chance for me to play around more with black and white, and it also gives me a chance to pump out 31 illustrations and 31 different OCs. Then Chamomile. No. My intention wasn't to do Louisiana native plants necessarily. Then Peach Blossoms. I did not do coffee cherries. There's a lot of them that I never got around to. And then maple leaves, and these are specifically Japanese maple because they turn, I mean, you can't tell in black and white, obviously, but they turn these really beautiful colors. So for this one, I was thinking about like how I would want it to look in watercolor. Then blueberries.
You said a lot of these are edible, right?
Right. Most of them are edible. When I compile this into the Angel's Trumpet, yeah, that one's toxic. And ivy, English ivy is also toxic. When I compile this into a zine, my goal for the text part of it is to discuss if they're edible, how they would typically be consumed, what part of them is considered edible. No, just in general. And if it's poisonous, I want to talk about the toxicity. Here is chrysanthemum. I really like how this one turned out. I think this one's going to look really cool in watercolor.
When you put these in a book, are you going to leave the ones that are horizontal?
I might make them double page spreads. But I may adjust the format to suit. It really kind of feels like, or it kind of depends on how they lay out, because I use Affinity Publisher when I'm laying out books now. It's affordable. It's fairly easy to use. It's like a very stripped down version of InDesign, so it's kind of more accessible to someone who is not looking for this fully fledged print/publishing program. But if you would grab my Lilliputian Livings from that box, I can show them on camera. Please. Then Dandelion, and we have crickets on Dandelion. I try so hard to keep these clean until... Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to. Then we have Ginger, and this was done during hands-on creativity. So I was at Plaza all day representing Albert Dürer watercolor markers and Faber-Castell, and then I would come home and do Inktober. So I tried to keep the days that were on hands-on creativity days, or the days where I was at Handmade and Bound, which was in the middle of the month, easier. So that's why some of the illustrations are a little bit more scaled back. And then chanterelle, and these are a delicious edible type of mushroom. Thyme. Tomato. Then you guys saw me do pumpkin live. And generally it takes me about an hour to ink it, depending on how detailed the illustration is.
How careful were you with scale?
I always eyeball scale when it comes to Lilliputians, but when we're out going for walks or we go to Cheekwood Botanical Gardens, I pay really close attention to things. So, like, I'm sure my scale isn't perfect, but I think in terms of plants, my scale is pretty close. I played with dolls a lot as a kid, like outside and stuff. So I feel like I've probably trained my eye for that kind of scale for a long time. Like, I kind of feel like working on Kara and these kind of projects are really my wheelhouse, because I've always been interested in these sort of scale studies and these sort of viewing the world from a different perspective sort of exercises. Like, even as a kid, I would like lay stomach down in the grass and just like look flat out and like think about the world. Like, well, what if I was a rabbit, you know? So it's probably not perfect scale, but I think unless you're like looking for flaws, and if that's the case, then you're gonna find flaws, I think they're pretty close. So like with Squash Blossom, for example, I was really careful about the scale for Squash Blossom because those are actually really big. But for things that I see often, like apple blossoms or cherry blossoms, I kind of have been thinking about it for a really long time, you know? That was an intensely nerdy answer. And then finally, the bonus one, and I may end up doing a couple of other ones, is pecan. Because I finally got the fall spirit. It's like 50 something outside, maybe even colder than that. And now I'm like, I want to do fall illustrations. All right, so that's 32 different Inktober illustrations. I usually start out by doing my sketch the night or the morning before. So, okay, when I did the first one, Pansy, I drew this on September 30th and then inked it the next morning and then drew my October 2nd illustration on October 1st. So I have this like don't break the chain kind of method where I'm always starting the next step the night before. So it's easier for me to just continue the chain the next day. And I also, I know these are kind of elaborate for Inktober. They're not as elaborate as some people do, but they're kind of elaborate considering I did 31 of them. I intentionally don't do the watercolor. At this stage, I intentionally don't do anything super elaborate. I don't do these big lavish illustrations because for me, there's no way I could do 31 of those in a month, not with the other things I have to do. And I notice a lot of artists who get gung-ho about doing Inktober, and they do these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful illustrations like the first week, and then they get burnt out and you don't see anything from them. And that's okay. Like, if that was your goal, like I just wanted to do it for fun for as long as I had time and then I'm done, I get that. I'm not at all criticizing that. I'm saying, like, for me and what I want from Inktober, I need to do things that, like, I know I can complete. So I also, even though I use this as an opportunity to draw different things, like I draw different ethnicities and I draw different, like, I'll show you guys actually. So these are the Inktobers from the past 2 years. This is last year's, this is year before. So this one kind of explores different jobs that Lilliputians might hold. So this gave me kind of an opportunity to draw a really wide variety of people and different settings, because sometimes the setting is really important for understanding the job. So it's still different from drawing 7-inch Kara, even though it dovetails really nicely into what I'm already doing. And then this is last year's, and it focuses on types of Lilliputians and family structure and pets. And I lost my mind last year because I decided I was going to do it in ink wash. And ink wash eats a lot of ink when you're printing it. And I also didn't like the method that I used for ink wash. But I did 31 days in the same method because I wanted it to look consistent. And the ink wash is neat because it does give you more of the story. Like, it lets you understand the characters better, and you can do different surface design, and you can depict different ethnicities a little bit better if you're utilizing ink wash. A little bit easier than just black and white in terms of like that kind of storytelling. But I was spending all day long doing these, which is just not feasible when you have other work that you should be doing, or if you work a day job. So, and of course I always end up doing Halloween ones. I can't resist. So my Halloween costumes for Inktober are based on 1930s costumes because those are like very handmade, and there's something really charming about those. So this one is like a magpie costume, and this year's Halloween costume is almost from the same pattern set, but it's like a good fairy costume. All right, so that was my Inktober, and that's my Halloween. Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening, helping me paint a couple of cute pumpkins, which are probably still not even dry, but it was a fun experiment. Y'all don't use acrylic ink on pumpkins. It will never, ever, ever dry. So we have a not Calcifer, a, what is he? A magma slime. He was supposed to be Calcifer, but he's too squat and cute. And we have a Soot Sprite. And I'll have pictures of those on my Instagram, as well as the materials I use in case you missed them. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Halloween. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this evening. And hopefully I'll see you guys again soon. Bye, y'all. Good night. Happy Halloween.